Hey, this is David. I am happy that you're going to watch at least a bit of this tutorial. I am going to show you how to make a fast and effect-driven action sequence. There's going to be some ramped slow motion, some basic editing to achieve this invisible cut. We're going to play around with distortion effects, and in the end there will be an introduction to like advanced color correction. Alright, so let's take a look at how this is supposed to look in the end. Alright, so here we are in After Effects, and we already got our footage imported. First of all, we're going to make a new composition, and we're going to call it action sequence. We're going to use the preset HDV 720 at 25 frames per second and square pixels. Let's make it 15 seconds. Alright, and let's get started. Alright, so first of all we're going to create the invisible cut, and we got two clips. This is the first part, and there's no one there. So this is just some basic editing. Drag it into the timeline. Select your start point and trim your clip. The next thing to do is to find your out point where you want to match the second clip, and you have to be very careful about that so no one finds out where the cut actually is. And in order to be able to make a cut like that, you have to work very careful on set. And if you have this very shaky camera movement, like in our example, you should maybe even tell your cameraman to count his steps, so he makes the same movements when he passes the point where you want to match the two clips. Okay, so this looks kinda okay to me, and so let's take our second clip. And there we have, whoa, the other guy. Okay, let's match these two clips. Put it above your other clip, and now look very carefully for the same frame you want to mix. Oh, there he is. Alright, so we are looking for the perfect frame. There's a bright spot over here. We don't want to use this one. Yeah, this looks okay. So you got your frame, trim your clip, and push the two clips together. And yeah, there's the cut, and it looks okay. Whoa, that's good. Alright. Yeah, so now let's finish the sequence first before we move on. So we want to connect this part with some later part of that clip with a distorted transition, and so therefore we're going to split the layer. By doing that we will get two clips out of one, and yeah, find your frame of destination, whatever way you want to step back into the clip. Yeah, somewhere over here, I think. Trim your clip, make sure it fits, and yeah, now let's take a look at the sequence. There's our cut, there's the second cut, and that's it for now. Okay, now we're going to start with the slow motion effects. So we want to like intensify the moment where this guy meets himself, and right click on the clip, select time, enable time remapping, and there you got this new thing down here. It looks good. Yeah, now select your point where you want the slow motion to kick in, set a keyframe, and now look at what part you want to be slow. So that frame is important to us because it's kind of focused on him. And yeah, select the frame after that and add another keyframe. So now the part in between the keyframes is going to be slow. Now click on Graph Editor. The graph editor represents your timeline. You got your two keyframes, and if you hold shift and grab the part behind the second keyframe, you're gonna get this U. If you don't hold shift, you will get this smooth transition between the time differences. You don't want to do that by now. Yeah, and now you got this U where the time is actually extended. Yeah, looks like that. And what you notice now is that the clip got shortened. So now you have to find the frame again where you wanted to step out. Yeah, about here. Okay, that's good. So right now the slow motion just kicks in. It's normal speed and then there's slow motion. So we want to get a smooth transition and can click on the lower keyframe and grab the yellow spot next to it and move it up. And then you can like create this ramp, and yeah, so the time difference will have a smooth transition, and you can do it on the other side as well. We recorded the film at 60 frames per second, and that gives us a possibility to slow down the speed, I think, to about 41% without losing any frames. So a little bit below that is okay. So this is like 36. So let's take a look. Okay, this looks much better. Okay, so we got two more slow-mos to do. This is pretty easy now. Just select your clip and right-click, time, enable time remapping. Then select the parts you want to have slow. Set keyframes around the slow part. And yeah, here we want to like the pole to push in the slow motion. That will look good. So yeah, we're going to do it like that. So now you got 4 keyframes. In between the two pairs of them, there's gonna be the slow motion. So now that we got 4 keyframes on our graph editor, this is going to be slightly more interesting. If you select the 2 bars to the right and pull it to the right, you will get the slow motion between the first 2 keyframes. There's our U again, and if you only select the right bar and pull it, hold shift, you will only get the second slow motion. And now we're going to make the ramps again. Can play around with that. We're just going to do it quickly now. There's our half pipe. And let's do it for the other one as well. Grab the knot and pull it up. Can pull it to the right to make it smoother. And yeah, grab the other one. So this is it, and it should look fine. Let's try it. Okay, I like it. So a lot of the things we do in our film, a lot of the editing is related to the soundtrack, and we got this industrial beat in the background. So we're going to contribute to it by creating an effect for the transition between these two scenes. and it's going to be like a special effect. It looks all fancy. So you go to layer, a new adjustment layer. So if you put the layer on top, it will affect all the other clips under it. Yeah, and we want this like horizontal distortion. So you go to effect, distort, wave warp, and there you see these funny little waves. But we don't want waves, so you go to wave type, smooth noise, and you got these very small, like edges. And if you set direction 0 and set the phase to, let's say 38, and now we got these horizontal things. If you look really closely now, you will see that you lose some pixels of your image. So you have to go to pinning, vertical edges, and now you're safe. This looks better now. And of course you don't want the effect to be on your whole clip, so again we are going to work with keyframes, and if you click on the stopwatch and set some values, we'll add a keyframe. That's where we're going to the effect to start, and there it's going to end. So again, you can click on the diamonds to add keyframes with the same value as the previous one. And if you put the current time indicator in between and you change the values, it will automatically add new keyframes. So now you can just play around how extreme the effect is going to be. So yeah, why not? This looks okay. Enough with the wave warp. This still looks too clean though, so we're going to add some noise HLS, and this is the same procedure. Going to add keyframes where the effect should start and end, and by clicking on the stopwatch and the diamonds. So now you can add keyframes with different values in the middle. So we're using the noise to get some grain on it. Yeah, well, this is just some experimenting. Now we got this TV noise in our clip. And there's one more thing we want to do. We want to give a short flash of bright light during the transition. So we go to color correction and curves. And this is, again, we're going to add keyframes like we did before. Now you go to the graph and you grab the top right knot, pull it to the left, and there's your light. There are many ways to do this, but I like the curves, so we use that. Now, alright, this is pretty quick, but yeah, this is our transition. That's cool. Yeah, and well, in order to keep our project organized, we call this layer distortion. And yeah, that's it. Now the actual fun part starts, because, well, if you look at the images, they look good, but they are flat and somewhat boring. So we're going to do some color correction. You add a new adjustment layer. Call it color correction. And many people just don't know what is possible with some basic color correction. So therefore, it's always useful to know someone who has knowledge of color correction. Now select a like a frame that represents your clip, that has a lot of details, that is focused, and has some contrasts, a wide contrast range. And now that we already got our new adjustment layer, we can start right away, go to color correction and shadow highlight. That's the first thing we're going to do. This effect actually makes the image flatter and well, less detailed. But later on we will contribute from that. So well, just pick some values, not very high. You have to be very careful with this effect, because if you overdo it, you'll get some errors like flashing lights. Well, we might be able to see that later. The next thing we're going to do is to take away some of the colors. Well, we're going to desaturate our image. So go to color balance, HLS, and set saturation to, well, less than 0 if you want to desaturate it. Everyone desaturates colors nowadays. This is digital cinema, so whatever, just do it. Now we're going to brighten the image. So you go to levels and, well, push the rightmost triangle to the left, and that will brighten your image. The reason why we use the levels and not the brightness contrast effect to brighten the image is because by using the levels you don't change the black. So black stays black and still your image gets brighter. And of course it also gets more dynamic. Usually if you make the image brighter, you should also add more contrast. So you go to brightness and contrast and just add a little more. We're going to increase that later with another effect, because this doesn't look too good if you do too much. So this is fine. And now finally we will meet my personal favorite, the curves, because this is why we actually made the image flat in the beginning with that shadow highlight effect. Now we're going to get all the details back. So go to the graph and create like an S. And now you will see, well, don't overdo it, of course. Now you will see that all these tiny little things pop out and they get, it just looks amazing. Just look over there and all these things, all that junk lying on the floor. And see the difference? That's incredible. Now the last step will be to give the film a color theme, and well, we want this film to be green, because green is not a very funny color and the film isn't very funny either. So we're going to increase the shadow blue balance so the dark spots get a little bluish, and we're going to reduce mid-tone red balance because the location was very red and we didn't like that. So yeah, now increase mid-tone green balance and your image will get green. Whoa. Now we put the adjustment layer above all 3 clips, and of course you should do it for every single clip, because well, they're all different and you have to make like small adjustments here and there. But well, for example, this is alright now. Well, I think that's it for now. Thank you for watching. Thank you, A-Toots. And let's take a final look at the sequence as it is in the film.